Today's video is full of fall DIYs that I know you're gonna love, so let's go on in and get started. For this project, we're going to create a leaf gnome. So we're going to take one of these unfinished wood blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I also picked up these faux leather leaves from the Dollar Tree. So I was super excited to find these because, like I said in my intro, I spent kind of a lot of money on these same faux leather leaves at Hobby Lobby last year, and so I was super excited to get these for $1.25. They're really fun to work with. So all we're going to do is kind of alternate our two types of leaves all along the bottom of this plank. And we're going to be creating a beard for our gnome. So I'm just using hot glue here. It does get kind of hot through that leather, but you're just going to go up to the desired amount of the plank that you want. Then I'm using a wooden bead from Amazon, and I'll link that down in the description. And then I'm going to add two of these, I think these are maple leaves, onto the side. I feel like these kind of make it look like a mustache. I thought it was so cute. Then I'm taking some fabric that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the plank, hot glue it in place. This is going to be our hat, and I'm just going to kind of loop it over each other. I didn't cut any of this off. I just used the fabric square that came from the Dollar Tree, but you could trim this if you wanted to. Once I get that hot glued to the back, I'm going to flip it back around, and I'm going to gather the top of it into just I'm gathering it at the top, and then I'm using some twine, and I'm going to wrap that around the top to give it a cinch, and then I do go ahead and add one more of the leaves up at the top just to give it a little extra something, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Turn the tide, let the water go where it wants to go. You can run and hide, you can bury yourself in.
For this project, I picked up one of these really large pumpkin signs that they had there. The wood is really thick. We're going to cover it with some terracotta paint. Then I also picked up this thankful sign that is also really thick wood. It cost $2.99, and we're going to cover that with some gold metallic paint. Then we're going to take some white Waverly chalk paint, and we're going to dry brush around the sides, and we're going to go in the circular motion of the pumpkin. This gives it a really cool effect because we're still going in the shape of the pumpkin, but we're still getting the dry brush effect. If we went back and forth across the pumpkin, we wouldn't get quite the same dimension and shape that we're getting going down the sides. It's kind of like painting the little pieces into the pumpkin. Don't forget to go around the edges because we all know that that is the best part about dry brushing. Then I went ahead and dry brushed some more white Waverly chalk paint over my gold metallic paint on the thankful sign. Then I picked up this green color. It's more of like a teal. It's beautiful. We're going to go ahead and paint the stem that color, and now we're ready to assemble our door hanger. I'm using hot glue here. You can use wood glue or any kind of more stable adhesive if you want to. But here it is, just glued onto our sign. It's beautiful that way if you don't want to add the shabby bow. I'm using some fabric that also came from Hobby Lobby and some leftover jeans. I love to use a piece that I'm using in the fabric bow as a tie around because then it becomes part of the bow and you can't even tell that it was made into a bow. Then we're going to take some hot glue again, and up at the stem we're going to glue on our really fun shabby bow. And here it is, styled in some decor. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this DIY. For this project, we're going to create a beaded garland using these wooden leaves and this wooden garland. If you did not want to use this as a wooded beaded garland, it's still a wonderful deal for $4.99 because you could cut it apart and use the beads for something else. So these wooden leaves ended up costing $2.49. We're just going to take the metallic paint and give them one coat of the metallic paint. After I painted the leaves, I absolutely loved how they turned out, and there was all these different kind of hues in there, and I decided the beads needed to also be the same color. So I just kept them on the string and I painted them all the metallic gold color. Now we're ready to assemble our beaded garland, and because, I do Shabby Farmhouse on my channel, I decided to go ahead and go with this even though the beads and the leaves kind of look like a more glam look. But I promise you they're going to come together and you're going to love it just as much as I did. So I'm going to start at the end of the garland and just tie on a piece of our fabric. Then we're going to start with the leaves. Now each of the leaves had 3 cutouts, so there were 9 leaf cutouts altogether. I put them in the groupings of 3 and then I'm going to tie them all around the garland. I'm just using twine and tying a piece at the bottom on the stem, and then I'm going to tie that piece onto our beaded garland. Once I get the leaf tied on, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my fabric and my jeans and I'm going to group them again in a grouping of 3, and I'm going to tie those next to our leaf. I'm going to continue that step all around our garland, and you guys, you are not going to believe what this looked like. I want you to go down in the comments and tell me what you think about it, because this was my absolute favorite DIY of the video. For this project, we're going to create a pumpkin wood sign, and I wasn't really sure what to call this, but I had picked up this little decor piece at Dollar Tree and they're like everyday decor, and I also picked up this peel and stick wallpaper. So I went ahead and traced it onto the peel and stick wallpaper, and then I'm going to cut out each individual piece. Then I just kind of measured them to go into the center of the signs, and then once I had it to fit into the center, then I just peeled off the backing and stuck it into the middle of the sign. Then I took some wooden sticks. These came from Hobby Lobby, but I do have a similar item from Amazon that I'll link down in the description box. Once I get the stems glued to each section of this sign, then I decided to make some shabby bows. This ribbon came from Hobby Lobby and the Dollar Tree, and I just kind of alternated them between the burlap ribbon and the orange ribbon, and then I have the middle one to have the burlap ribbon on top, and then another one that has the orange ribbon on the top, and so I just alternated them. Once I get them glued to the stems, then I'm going to go ahead and add a little button there. I'm using cream colored buttons. I will link those down from Amazon as well. You can get quite a few. If you don't want to purchase them on Amazon, they do sell bundles of buttons at the Dollar Tree, and sometimes they have assorted colors. That's the one I like to pick up just because then you can use it for several different projects. Once I get these little buttons glued into the middle of our bows, then this project is complete, and here it is, styled in some decor.
You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice.
For this project, we're going to make a metal pumpkin sign. I picked this metal pumpkin sign up at the Dollar Tree Plus section, and then I'm going to use my half beads from Amazon. I will put a link down in my description box if you want to pick these up. They are definitely worth the price. I have used these on so many projects, and I still have quite a few left, so they are definitely worth it. But all we're going to do is glue the beads in the middle pieces of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to take some white folk art chalk paint and I'm going to dry brush over my entire pumpkin along with the beads. So I left them natural looking, and then I'm just dry brushing them so they're not getting a full coverage of white on any part of that. Then I took some more fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I just had some strips left over, and so I tied those strips around the center of the pumpkin and then added a couple other pieces, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Don't need to worry, somebody's waiting down the line. You pick up the pieces, hey, you'll be alright.
For this project, I'm going to create a shabby pumpkin wood sign, and I guess I'm not feeling very inspired for my project titles today, but I picked up this sign at the Target Plus, or not Target, I'm sorry, Dollar Tree Plus section, and it was, I believe, $3. I also picked up these peel and stick wallpaper tiles, and I'm going to cover the sign with the tiles. Now, I had some problems creating this DIY when I traced out the the pumpkin pattern on the back of the peel and stick tile. I didn't factor in that you were going to take off that black section there, so when I put my tile onto my sign, there is a little tiny section at the bottom that is not covered. I also traced on the back of my tile, which did not match up with my stems. Obviously, I should have traced that out on the front, but I continued to persevere through this project because I do think it's going to turn out really cute. I had one other mishap. I didn't cut it to fit on the right hand side all the way, so I had to cut an extra piece. You can kind of see it, but once I get the little bows on with my fabric, you can't even tell. So I do really love how this turned out. I definitely think I probably need a second try just to kind of perfect it a little bit, but I'm using that same fabric from the Dollar Tree, adding some little shabby bows at the top, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Take a breath. Let me be a part of some.
For this project, I'm going to create a wood planter. I haven't created a planter on my channel for quite some time, but I took this Dollar Tree crate and I'm going to use this birchwood garland that I got at Hobby Lobby. I got it last year in the Christmas section, so I hope they have it out again this year because I have used this a whole bunch and it's really versatile. I used it a lot for fall, and of course you can use it for Christmas, but all I'm going to do is take hot glue and glue it around this entire box. I absolutely love the way this looks when it's all completed. But this is a really simple project, so once we get it on there, we're going to add our floral foam, and then I took some florals that I got at the Dollar Tree this year. I got some yellow flowers, some orange flowers, a leaf pick, and I added each one of those into the box along with some little pumpkins, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend.
For this project, we're going to make a jean pocket pumpkin. I had this pocket left over from some previous DIYs that I did with jeans. I'll link that video down in my description box, but I'm going to put some hot glue on 3 sides of the pocket, and then I'm just going to glue those 2 pieces together. Now, this pocket has a Velcro piece that opens the actual pocket, so I just left that together. If you had a regular jean pocket, you could glue that if you wanted to. Then I took some batting and I just filled my pocket with batting, and I'm going to take some more hot glue and seal that top part with some hot glue. Now you could totally sew this if you wanted to. Just remember that jeans require a heavy duty sewing needle, so you need a special needle for that. Then I took one of these sticks that I got from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. You get like a package of 24 of them or something like that, but I use them all the time. They're really versatile for lots of different projects. So I glued that into the pocket, and then I took some raffia and I'm just going to glue that just on top of the stick. I didn't wrap it around or anything. If you wanted to tie it off in a bow or a knot there, you could do that too. This was just some leftover pieces that I had. Then I took some ribbon from my stash and I just made an awareness bow, and all that means is you cross it over, glue it in the middle, and then I'm going to add this cute orange button that matches my ribbon, and here it is, styled in some decor.
I wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Time to figure out what
So for this project, we're going to make another jean pumpkin, but this time we're going to take some strips instead of the pockets, and we're just going to cut and tear like I do my fabric and ribbon if you've watched me for a while. It's one of my favorite techniques to give that kind of shabby feel because you get the worn look from ribbon, fabric, and jeans. So then I'm going to add some hot glue, and I'm just going to add the strips around my pumpkin. This would be a really great project to cover one of those Dollar Tree foam pumpkins, the orange ones. I couldn't find any out just yet, and this was the only pumpkin I had in my stash. So this did come from the Dollar Tree, though. They're the smaller pumpkins, and this would work for any size pumpkin. I think this is adorable, so I definitely want to make some larger ones when I get out some larger pumpkins in my area. So once you start gluing the strips on, you're going to just want them to overlap. And as you go around, you're going to have a few holes, and that's okay, because once you get all the strips on the majority of your pumpkin, then we're going to go back and fill in the holes. This is a really easy project. You're just going to hot glue and wrap. So here you can see there are some holes. You can take some shorter pieces of the jeans if you want, and you're just going to cover those up with some hot glue as well. And it's just going to go around and fill in any gaps. I took the top of the pumpkin that was part of the original pumpkin, and I'm just going to hot glue it back into the hole that was already there. Once I had that glued in, I took some more ribbon and I tied it into a shoelace bow, and I'm just going to add that to the stem. You could wrap it around if you wanted to. I chose not to, but either way would be super cute. And here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to make a wood block pumpkin, and this was so easy. I already had this wood block painted for a different project, and so you're just going to take a plain scrap piece of wood, paint it with some white chalk paint, and then these were like a garland of some kind that I got several years ago at Hobby Lobby, but you could also use the little stems that they sell at the Dollar Tree that are like the little wood circles. That would work as well up here at the top. You just need something for a stem. So I glued those two pieces together, and then I'm going to glue it to the top, and here is like a super cute pumpkin. You could leave it like this if you wanted to, adding some raffia. I think that would be super cute. But we're going to add a little bit extra here. So I had these left over from last year's window clings from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use some Mod Podge and glue one of the pumpkin pieces down at the bottom. I did go ahead and let them overlap because I think that's pretty cute. And I love to use window clings, so if you like to use window clings in crafts, I have a whole video where I do some tiered trays with window clings. I will leave that video down in my description box as well. But I took some more leaves that came in that same window cling set, and I'm just going to glue those, again hanging off the sides of the wood block. And then I cut apart some of the words that were also window clings that said Happy Fall, and I just glued those on into the middle of my wood block, and then again another leaf down at the bottom. This is definitely customizable to any window cling set that you might like. I took some more ribbon and some extra jean pieces that I had laying around, and I made a shabby bow. I have to say, this is probably one of my very favorite shabby bows I have ever made. I love the contrast of jeans and the orange and the polka dots. Very cute. But I added a button, and here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to make a fabric pumpkin, and I just took a styrofoam ball that I had used in a previous project, and this is probably like 3/4 of a styrofoam ball. And I took some fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I just wrapped the fabric around my styrofoam ball. Now you could use an actual pumpkin for this and just wrap up your pumpkin. I've seen it where people like fold in the fabric into the hole at the top of the pumpkin. I chose not to do that. I left my fabric open at the top, and then I'm using some more of my leftover jean strips. If you guys can't tell, I love using jeans. I think they make super cute bows as well. Let me know, do you like jean projects, or what have you made with jeans that is super cute? So I went ahead and made another shabby bow because I felt like this really matched the fabric because there was some blue in it as well. I did add one of those sticks at the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue that to where I tied the fabric around with my other piece of jeans. Then it just makes it look like they were a bow together. And then I took another button, this time a blue one, glued it in the middle, and here it is, styled in some decor.
I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment.
For this project, we're going to make a wood round pumpkin, and we're really just adding elements to a wood round. So this wood round came from the Target dollar spot. It could be a riser. It could sit on the rounded part. I've done that with a previous one that I used. But I'm just taking another window cling, and I'm going to glue that one to the middle. And then I took some leaves from that same window cling set, and I just glued them around the sides of my pumpkins. I like to go in groups of 3, but that's totally up to you. I'm using my same orange ribbon, making another awareness bow, and I glued this one at the stem of our window cling. Then I'm adding another orange button, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Babe, weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday, and the pain that you're feeling gradually fades.
So for this project, we're going to make a washcloth pumpkin, and I picked up this set of 12 washcloths in the Dollar Tree plus section. They were $5. I picked this red color, and I think possibly I should have picked a different color of washcloth because you're going to see here in the end why I decide that. But we're going to just make a point on each side and hot glue that together. Now, someone had made a comment on one of my videos that they wanted to see less hot glue. I mean, you're more than welcome to sew these together. I'm just not much of a seamstress. I don't like to pull out my sewing machine because it takes me forever, and I'm just not very good at it. But definitely, if you want to sew this together, you totally can. So I'm going to stuff that with some batting, and then I glued the other side together, and then I just kind of fluffed it out and took both ends, and I'm going to hot glue those both ends together. That way I'm getting kind of a square shape for my pumpkin. Then I took another one of those wood sticks that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to glue that down to the middle of our washcloth. Then I'm just going to kind of glue that top edge around the wood stick. Then I took some of my raffia and tied a shoelace bow. I think this kind of ends up looking like an apple, which is definitely still fall decor, but I think a different color would have made it look more like a pumpkin. But here it is, styled in some decor.
Just like my mama said, gradually fades away.
For this project, we're going to create a Hello Fall sign, and this is one of the bigger signs that you can pick up at Hobby Lobby in the unfinished wood area. I'm going to be using this stencil set right here, and I will link it down in my description box if you want to pick it up, but it comes with all of those stencils that are pictured below. We're going to be using the Hello Fall stencil for this one, and I did tape it together to fit on here because it's quite a large stencil, so you want to make sure that you have all the pieces together the way that you want them to go. So I used a navy blue for the hello and then a sage color, which I'll link all my colors down in the bottom as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some paint and connect the letters because I like it to look like a full fluid letter rather than the pieces that are cut off in between. So I just went ahead and went over all the letters to do that, and here it is, styled in some decor.
I wish I had a little
For this project, we're going to make a Hello Pumpkin sign, and I combined two stencils here. So I took one of the hellos from the Hello Pumpkin larger sign, and I took the little pumpkin that is at the bottom of that sign and combined them together to make this wood round. I used a navy blue for the dark bottom color, and then the sage or blue color on top, which gives it a really fun contrasted blue color. Then I made a shabby bow just using some fabric and ribbon that I had on hand. My ribbon's from Dollar Tree and my fabric came from Hobby Lobby, and here it is, styled in some decor.
I dreamt of a life in a small town that wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last.
For this project, we're going to make a Hello Fall pumpkin sign, and a shout out to my friend Brittany, who had a garage sale this summer, and she had me come over to get things before the garage sale started. So she gave me lots of wood pieces, and so this is one of those wood pieces. So it's a Rae Dunn inspired stencil, so we went ahead and put on Hello Fall here. I don't like the leaf, so I decided to cover it with a wood round. I painted the wood round with a darker orange color, and then I'm going to hot glue that right over the leaf. Then I'm going to add some ribbon as a ribbon bow to the top of the wood round to give it a pumpkin look. And then over in the left-hand corner, we're going to be adding a shabby bow. So I just took some ribbons that came from the Dollar Tree and my fabric that I picked up on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to make the shabby bow, glue that around in the middle, and then we're going to glue it to this left-hand side. Then I decided to go ahead and add a couple of buttons, and I'm just going to add that right to the middle of the bow. I added a bigger one, and then a medium-sized one, and then a small one, just to give it some different colors and just some fun elements here. And then here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to make a round pumpkin sign, and I took a wood round that I got from Hobby Lobby. I covered it in some white folk art chalk paint, and then I dry brushed it in a bluish green folk art chalk paint. Then I'm going to take these two colors and I'm going to use this pumpkin stencil. I use the orange color to do the solid parts, and then the burgundy kind of maroon color to do the stripe parts. It gives it a really fun contrasted color, and I really love these two colors together. Then I took some Hobby Lobby this ribbon came from the Dollar Tree. I made a shabby bow, and then I put some buttons here in the middle, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
My mama said, I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment.
For this project, we're going to make a simple fall sign, and this is another wood piece that came from my friend Brittany. I'm just going to take the fall that was in the Hello Fall stencil, and I'm just going to paint that on there, and then I took just some ribbon that I tied in a shoelace bow. I'm going to glue that up at the top left-hand corner, and then I'm going to take another button, glue that into the middle, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Babe, weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last. When tears streamed down my face, my mama said, all the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday, and the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away.
For this project, we're going to create a leaf house sign, and this is one of the house cutouts from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and covered it with some folk art white chalk paint, and then I dry brushed it with some glacier folk art chalk paint. Then I took the leaf stencil, and I'm using some sage folk art chalk paint, and I covered it with that sage paint. Then I took some fabric that I had on hand and I just made a really quick little shabby bow. I just put these ones all together. I didn't make them like diagonal or anything. Used some twine, tied them off in the middle. This is a really fun way to use up any extra scraps of ribbon or fabric, and they make super cute bows. Then I'm going to glue this up to the top of my little house, and of course I'm going to add a little button there in the middle just for some added texture and fun elements, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart. That's what my mama said. Weeks and months and years they passed, but then I found something I knew would last. Just like my mama said.
So for this project, we're going to create a book page pumpkin, and for the first step, we're going to take a piece of paper and we're going to trace out our design. So it just kind of looks like this like two-humped shape. We're then going to fold that in half, and this is going to give us our pumpkin shape when we start cutting out the book. So I'm just going to kind of trim it down a little bit to make sure that it's even on both sides since I drew this freehand, and then I'm going to lay it against the spine of the book. So originally when I started to draw the pattern, I hadn't put it quite up against the spine, but you want it to be up against the spine. So I start using an X-Acto knife to cut this out, and I'm just going along my trace lines. Later on, I decide to go ahead and use a pair of scissors. So if you don't have an X-Acto knife, don't worry, a pair of scissors will work just fine. So you're just going to go along the edges of your pattern that you cut out, and then you're just going to remove the pages, each one as you go along. Then you're going to open the page that you cut and then put your pattern in there again and keep cutting. So you're just going to keep opening and keep cutting until you get to the very end of your book. I picked my book up at Dollar Tree, but you can get books at garage sales, thrift stores, anywhere for pretty cheap. Then I took some of this burnt orange acrylic paint and a paintbrush, and I'm just holding it very tightly together to just do the outer edges of the pumpkin. I kind of wish my book was a little bit thicker because, as you can see later, it takes me a really long time to kind of fluff out my pages. I feel like a thicker book probably would have worked a little bit better in this. So if you're going to recreate this project, I highly recommend like a pretty thick book. So once I have that all painted, I'm going to put some Aleene's tacky glue from Dollar Tree into the spine along with a pencil. And this is how we're going to have the pumpkin stand up. So I took some clips that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to clip that together to give the glue a little bit of time to dry. Then I'm going to remove my pencil and keep my clips there just to continue to give it the shape. Then I need to fluff out each one of my pages from where we painted because we don't want them to be stuck together. And then this is going to give it a fun kind of painted look, but without them being on every page. Then I picked up these leather leaves at the Dollar Tree, and this stem also came from the Dollar Tree. I got it a couple years ago. Let me know if you guys see them out this year because I'm almost out, and these are like one of my favorite things to decorate fall with. But then you're just going to kind of fluff out your pages after you add your embellishments to the top, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Can't turn the tide, let the water go where it wants to go.
For this project, we're going to make a wooden flower pumpkin, and I got this box at Michael's over by like the checkout area where it was 99 cents, kind of where they have their like dollar spot area. And then I took some brown paint mixed with water, and I'm just going to paint that onto the entire box to look like a stain. Then I picked up these wooden flowers at Dollar Tree. This took about 3 packages, I think, to complete this inside. But all I'm going to do is glue these flowers into the inside of the box. You can do any pattern that you want. I just went around like making sure they fit and there wasn't any extra spaces. This does take a little bit of hot glue because you need to press down firmly. These are really firm wooden flowers. Once we have that completed, we're going to create a stem up at the top, and again, I'm using one of my Dollar Tree little stem pieces. I'm just going to hot glue that up there at the top, and then we're going to add some raffia as a bow just to give it a little bit more oomph. And then here it is, styled in some decor.
You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stone. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break.
Do you guys know what time it is? It's time to hit the like button. Don't forget so YouTube knows to send my video to more people so they can be inspired just like you. Let's get back to the DIYs. For this project, we're going to be making some wooden block pumpkins, and these are just using some scrap wood that I had on hand, but I'm just going to take some burnt umber paint again, and I'm going to do kind of like dry brushing, but I'm not using a dry brushing brush. So I'm just kind of painting it on, but I'm not using like full coverage here or anything. It's just basically one coat over each side of the wooden block. Once I get that completed, I'm taking these Dollar Tree leaves and I'm going to glue those to the top for our leaves at the top of our pumpkin. Once I get those glued on, and they have two different textures of leaves when you pick up that package. There's like a burlappy one and then just a regular like plastic one. I used a combination of both of those in a grouping of 3. Then I took another one of our little stems and I'm going to glue that up at the top to give it a stem. Then I took some raffia just to complete it with a raffia bow, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the fields.
So for this project, we're going to create a wood round pumpkin, and this I picked up at Hobby Lobby last year on clearance in their Christmas area. It's just a giant slab. You could really do a lot with this, but I've been seeing a lot of these like on Pinterest, and so all I'm going to do is take some more of my burnt umber paint it in the middle, leaving a little bit of an edge, along with another one of my stems, and I'm just going to glue that up at the top. Once I have that completed, I made a quick shabby bow. I'm going to glue that here to the end or bottom of our stem, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Let me be a part of something real. Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend.
For this project, we're going to create a rustic vase, and there's 2 options that you can go with here. These sticks came from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas area. You could glue these sticks all around the little votive vase, and that would be absolutely adorable. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route here. I picked up this other wooden, it's kind of like a garland, but it's for crafting. I also got it at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. I'm hoping they have it again this year because I have used it a lot for fall decor. But all I'm going to do is glue one side and then glue the other side around the vase. I'm going to go ahead and add this little votive that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's hard to see like lit up with the lights on here, but you can add that and it gives a very nice little glow when it's a little bit darker. But here it is, styled in some decor.
That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. You'll be alright.
For this project, we're going to create a 3 pumpkin sign. So this is a pretty large sign. All I'm going to do is start with a stain, and for my stain, I'm just using brown paint and some water mixed together. I, for some reason, got the top pumpkin a little bit darker than the rest of the pumpkins, but that is okay because we're going to take some white chalk paint and we're going to dry brush over the whole thing. I like the stain color of the last three pumpkins. The top one was a little bit too dark for me, so I'm not sure what happened, but I've never really had that problem before. But we're just going to use the white chalk paint all around all four of the pumpkins, and you can't even tell at the top once we did the dry brushing. Then I took some fabric that I got at the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to tie it in knots around the center of each of the pumpkins. Then I'm going to go back in with some more fabric and I made a shoelace bow for each one of those pieces, and I'm going to hot glue that piece on top so that the tied piece looks like the tails of the bow. Once I do that, I also add some of the fabric up at the top where the stem is, doing the same thing. And then I took some leftover jeans and I tied those into a shoelace bow, and I'm going to glue those to the center of our fabric bow. I'm going to do that for each pumpkin, and here it is, styled in some decor.
You can't turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants to go.
This project we're going to make a truck sign, and I picked up this really beautiful wood round at Family Dollar. It even comes with like an already built-in hanger, which is really nice, and it is very heavy duty. So I also got this placemat there as well, and I thought it was really beautiful. Now, it's not necessarily giving me fall vibes. I think this is maybe supposed to be for spring or summer, but I just really loved the design and I just love blue in my fall decor, so I went with it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the piece from the back of the placemat. Once I get that cut out, I also took some blue chalk paint and I just went around the sides of this wood sign. I didn't bother doing the middle because I'm going to glue my placemat there, so it's not necessary. Then I took some hot glue, and you could also use any glue really here. This is heavy duty plastic for the placemat, but I used hot glue and I just attached it there to the wood round. So you can tell at the top there is a small piece missing. I'm using some leftover jeans, and I'm just going to glue those to the top of our wood round. Once I get those glued to the top, I took some more jeans and I cut those into strips and I made a shabby bow. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I absolutely love shabby bows and I love jeans, making things out of jeans. So I have some other videos as well. I'll leave one down in my description box if you want to check that out, and it'll also be at the end of this video. But I cut those at an angle, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice. Don't let your feet.
For this project, we're going to create a truck planter, and I picked up this little blue truck at Family Dollar. I'm just going to remove the tag, and then I'm going to remove the contents of the bed of the truck. This was heavily hot glued in there, so I removed what I could out of there, and then I decided it really didn't matter because I was going to add hot glue there anyway. So I'm going to take some Spanish moss, and I'm just going to put some hot glue into the bed of the truck, and then I'm just going to add a layer of Spanish moss that covers the whole bottom of the truck. Once I get the Spanish moss glued in, then I'm going to take these really beautiful pumpkins that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. I'm really loving the colors and the textures they have out this year. They're really beautiful. So I'm going to take 2 of these orange ones and 3 of these green ones, and I just removed them from their metal clippy part, and I'm just going to hot glue them in on top of the Spanish moss. I always seem to go for an odd number of groupings, but you could glue however many of these pumpkins into the truck you wanted. I just really love how they ended up turning out. Then I took these mini pine cones, which I'm pretty sure came from the Dollar Tree. They are cinnamon scented. They come with these little pumpkins as well, but I chose not to use any of the little pumpkins. And here it is, styled in some decor.
That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun.
saw at the very beginning of this video where I went shopping, they had a welcome sign as well, and they also have them in just a plain wooden color. These were whitewashed. So you have some choices there depending on what kind of sign you want to pick up. I went ahead and used this sage color. It's kind of a teal sage color for the behind pumpkin part, and then I'm just covering the harvest part with some white paint. Then I took some of the fabric I had left over and my jean material, and I'm just making a shabby bow, and I'm going to glue that up at the stem of the pumpkin. Once I get that glued on, I almost always use buttons in the middle of my ribbons, or sometimes I'll take some more fabric and I'll wrap that around, but I decided to do something a little bit different here, so I took some more of those small pine cones and I'm going to glue them into the center of our bow along with a couple of those pumpkins, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
How the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath. Let me be a part of something real. Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend.
For this project, we're going to be creating a dish towel pumpkin, and I picked up these dish towels again at Family Dollar. I just went ahead and hot glued them. I know in the past somebody had said that they wished that I had used a little bit less hot glue. I don't like to sew, and I don't like to get out my sewing machine very often, but if you are a seamstress or you love to sew, you can definitely sew these sides together as well. Once you get these all attached together, then I left one side open, and I'm just going to take some batting, and we're filling this like one of those pillows that you can do with the dish towels. This would be an adorable pillow if you wanted to make it a pillow. I just really liked that applique that's on the front of this one, but we're going to stuff it a little bit more and we're going to create a pumpkin. So once I get the desired amount of stuffing in there, then I'm going to take some more hot glue and I'm going to glue that last end, or you're going to sew the last end. Then I decided to tuck in the sides and I'm going to gather it at the top. I'm going to take some orange ribbon and this is like some sheer polka dot ribbon. I'm just going to wrap it around the top and I'm going to tie it really tightly and then make a shoelace bow. This is creating our pumpkin, and it goes and leaves the applique on the front, which I think is super cute. So then I took another one of my sticks. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas area. I'm going to glue that down into the center of the top of our pumpkin, and then I decided to take some of the Dollar Tree leaves and glue those at the top as well, just to give it a little bit more pumpkin feel, since this is a little bit abstract, I guess. But I glue about 3 of those leaves to the top, and then I did make 2 others of these, but I didn't show that in the video, but they were really easy to make and super cute.
You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. You'll be alright.
This project, I'm using these fence posts that I've been using for a couple years now. I get them at Home Depot. These are cut down, and if you want to see how I originally used them, I will put that video down in my description box. But all I'm going to do is glue these fence post pieces together to create about a 4-piece length. Then I took this stencil from a stencil kit that I got on Amazon, and if you're interested in this stencil kit, I will put a link down in my description box, as well as the video that I featured all the stencils from the pack. Then once I'm done with that, I use some leftover jeans and I'm just going to make a little shoelace bow, glue it here to the top, and here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to make a jean pocket planter, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to use leftover jeans in my shabby chic decor. So I just cut off a pocket from a pair of my leftover jeans, and I'm going to glue it to this sign that I painted with white Waverly chalk paint. This sign came from, I believe, Hobby Lobby in the unfinished wood area, and you can get these when they are 40% off. Then I took some florals that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm really loving these blue leaves that I found there this year. I love to put blue in my fall decor, so I'm just going to put that in the back with some of these like burlap. Um, I don't know if they're supposed to be sunflowers, but I put those in the front. Then I made a shabby bow out of some jeans and some material that I got from the Dollar Tree. Added a button, and here it is, styled in some decor.
There wasn't enough for you somehow. I just wish I had a little more time with you, baby. Weeks and months and years they passed, and I knew it wouldn't last when tears streamed down my face.
For this project, we're going to create a pumpkin pillow, and I picked up these placemats at Hobby Lobby when they were 75% off in the spring area, and I'm using my same pumpkin stencil from my stencil pack. This was probably one of my most favorite pumpkins out of that whole stencil set. But I'm just going to use my sage colored folk art chalk paint, and I'm going to cover the whole pumpkin. Then I'm going to take another one of those placemats and I'm going to glue them together to make a pillow. So I'm gluing where the ruffles meet, and I'm just using that really thick area, and I'm going to go ahead and glue around about 3/4 of the placemat. Then I took some of my batting and I'm going to go into the pillow and I'm going to like separate it around so that it covers the entire circle of the inside of the placemat. So once I have my desired stuffiness into my pillow, I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm going to secure the rest of the opening of the placemat. And then here it is, styled in some decor.
All the nights that end in heartbreak gonna pay off someday, and the pain that you're feeling gradually fades away. 'Cause growing up, falling in love, giving your all might not be enough. Just trust your head and your heart.
For this project, we're going to create a wood pumpkin sign, and this is one of those little wood pumpkins that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and use my pumpkin chalk paint from Waverly, and I'm going to cover the entire pumpkin with my Waverly chalk paint. Then I took another piece of leftover jeans and I'm just going to glue that to the top of my pumpkin. I also had some leftover ribbon from a different project. This is sheer orange ribbon with white polka dots. I added a button into the middle of that. I get a lot of questions about where my buttons come from. I use buttons from Buttons Galore, and I will leave the link to their website down in my description box. Once I get that glued on, then here is this project styled in some decor.
Head and your heart, that's what my mama said. I wish I could freeze this moment, just never let it end. Walking through the snow when you're taking my hand. All of those late nights on your couch when we just talked until midnight. I just wish I could freeze this moment.
For this project, we're going to create a fall garland, and I'm using these beads that I got from Amazon. They are for fall or Halloween. They have these natural wood beads that have a buffalo orange check pattern on them, and then some of them have a leaf pattern. They also have a darker orange and black one, which reminds me a little bit more of Halloween. So we are actually going to use the natural beads. I'm just going to use some twine that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to thread those on in a pattern of leaf, buffalo check, leaf, buffalo check. Once I get those all on, then I'm going to take this little piece that I got from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cover it with some white folk art chalk paint. Once I have that covered, I took a window cling from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to place that here in the middle of my wood piece. I really thought this one was super cute, pumpkin spice, everything nice. Then I'm going to add one of my shabby bows here, and this is just a mixture of fabric and jeans that I had on hand. My fabric came from the Dollar Tree, and I just took some of that baker's twine that they have there and wrapped it in the middle. I'm adding another button here, and then here it is, styled in some decor. So this project is a grateful pumpkin sign, and I picked up one of these really large pumpkin wood signs from Hobby Lobby. I also have another DIY with this, so I will link that video down in my description box. But I also picked up this really beautiful, like dark green leopard corduroy fabric at Hobby Lobby, and it was 50% off because it's labeled fall fabric. But all I'm going to do is trace around my pumpkin. Now, when I go to cut it out, I'm going to cut it out not on the line, but just away from the line, so that I have about a half an inch of space that I can fold over onto the back of the wood sign. So you're going to want to give yourself a little space. Now, if you were going to sell this or like want to give it away, then you could go ahead and add a piece of felt or some other like solid fabric. I have that green fabric there. That would look really beautiful on the back. So once I have that all glued on, I added this grateful leather tag that I also got at Hobby Lobby. You can pick some of those up at the Dollar Tree as well. And then I'm going to go ahead, poke a hole in the top up there, and I'm just going to add my hanger back in because I am going to show you an option where you can hang this on your front door, or you can just sit it in some decor. Either of those options is really beautiful. Now, I love this pattern, and I haven't seen corduroy in a long time, so I was excited that it was coming back. It's pretty lightweight. I almost want to have like a shirt or something made out of that. But then I went ahead and made a shabby bow with some of this like velvet ribbon and some fabric that I also got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to glue that here at the top of the stem, and then here it is, styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to make a harvest pumpkin sign, and they have these wood pumpkins also at Hobby Lobby. I am repurposing a pumpkin that I already had and I used in a previous DIY. I actually made 3 of these, and I will link that video down in the description box as well. But I also picked up this Harvest Thanksgiving fabric at Hobby Lobby. It was also 50% off. Definitely check out their fabric department because you can find some really good seasonal fabrics that you can make into bows. Today we're kind of decorating with the fabric as part of our DIYs, but a lot of times if you watch me, I like to make my bows out of that fabric. Also check their remnant section as well. But I'm just going to add some hot glue to the front of this pumpkin because it's a little bit difficult to wrap it around because of that bottom stand part. So if you'll put just a tiny bit of glue, you could also use fabric glue here if you wanted to. But you're just going to put a tiny glue around the edges here, and then you're going to do the same kind of technique where you're going to fold it over in the back. Again, if you want to finish this off, like if you're giving it as a gift or selling it, you would want to put a solid piece back there. You could use white or even one of like a rust color would be pretty. To finish off the back of that. So once I get it glued down, then I'm just going, and I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and I'm going to glue it into the back. Then I picked up these really beautiful stems. I can't tell you guys enough how beautiful their stem section is for fall this year. I keep going over there and I'm like, when they start going on like really big sales over there, I am going to like run over there and get so many for next year because they're absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one apart, and I'm going to add these to the right hand side. Now originally I just wanted to add them to one side, but I didn't really like how that looked. I think it needed the symmetrical part of having them on both sides. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side as well. So I add some of the cream colored one and the orange one, and then again the pick that had the acorns. And then I took some of my fabric that I used in the previous project, and I just made a really fun shabby bow. Now I used the solid green color and I used the leopard green color, and I just made my bow. Let me know if you guys want a video on just how to make the bows. I could make a video just showing you like different ways to make shabby bows. Let me know down in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. So once I get it all positioned into the place that I would like it to be, I'm just going to put some hot glue there and I'm going to glue it down. And here it is, styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this one. So for this project, we're going to make a thankful pumpkin sign, and I also picked this up at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use my like kind of burnt orange color and the gold again. I have some other DIYs with the same color, and so I will link that video down in the description box. I have quite a few videos to link down there. Then I also picked up these picks in the Hobby Lobby pick department. I'm telling you guys, go check them out. And then I just have the exact same ones on both sides. So I have one pick of the baby like Indian corn, and then I have some flowers, and the flowers and the leaves were together as a pick. And then I'm taking this velvet ribbon and I'm just wrapping it around the middle to hold it in place. So once I get that pick all together, then I tried to like position where I thought it should go. Originally, I was wanting to put it in the very middle of the sign, but then I thought, no, I didn't really like how that was looking because up at the top, you can see there's like a space up there, and I didn't really want to add anything into that space. So I decided to actually stick it to the side. This will help with hanging it and making it straight as well if you decide to hang it. I'm not going to hang mine, but it will help it kind of balance out the weight. So once I get that glued in, I also picked up this pumpkin. It was 99 cents as a pick at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to go ahead and glue it into the middle. And then these pumpkins are a velvet pumpkin stem that you can pick up over in the pumpkin section at Hobby Lobby. And I just removed a couple of these, and I'm going to go ahead and put them into the top of my pick area. Now, once I have this part all done, I mean, this is beautiful just as it is without anything else. I just felt like the sign was missing a little bit of something there in the middle, and so I'm going to add something there in a second. But I had a question for you guys. So you guys wanted to see Thanksgiving DIYs, and when I did a little bit of research online, I feel like the fall DIYs and the Thanksgiving DIYs are really similar. What do you guys think a Thanksgiving DIY is? Because I tried to bring in like corns and like thankful and grateful. That's what kind of made me think of Thanksgiving. But you guys let me know down below what you think a Thanksgiving DIY is. So these words I picked up at an Amazon return store that is like in my area. And I've looked on Amazon to see if I could find the exact same ones. I haven't really been able to find the cursive ones, but I will try again, and I will link some words down in the description box if you want to check those out and get some for yourself. I love this teal color, and I had done the leaves of the pumpkins down below with the teal color, so I did be thankful as well. And here it is, styled in some decor. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to create a leaf wreath, and I really kind of struggled with what kind of leaf wreath I wanted to make because I was really trying to focus on a Thanksgiving theme here. Now, these leaves I picked up at Hobby Lobby. They have several that you can choose from. These reminded me of fall colors. I also used some raffia at the top, and that's how I originally was planning on hanging it up. This straw wreath form came from the Dollar Tree in the Dollar Tree Plus area. It was $3. If you can't find it there, Hobby Lobby has some as well. I picked up some smaller straw wreaths that I'm going to use in another video, but I also picked up some of the larger ones as well, and I realized that the wreath form at Dollar Tree is slightly smaller than the wreath form at Hobby Lobby. So when you go to pick it up, if you have to go to get the one at Hobby Lobby, just know that it's a little bit bigger than the Dollar Tree one. So once I get all the leaves glued on, and I used about a package and a half, then I decided to use some more raffia, and I made a little raffia bow. All I did was group it together, loop it over, and then I tied it off with another piece of raffia. I used another one of those leather tags. This one said thankful, and I styled it here for you guys on my front door and as a sitter as well. So let me know what you think about this one. So for this project, we're going to make a wooden leaf hanger, and I'd seen these wooden leaves at Hobby Lobby. I had my husband drill a hole just through each one of them, and I decided to make a hanger out of it. I couldn't think of any other DIYs to do with these, so I also did think, like, as I was doing the voiceover for this video, that those might make really cool turkey feathers. I don't know. but they would be super heavy because these leaves are really thick. So I couldn't think of any other DIYs to do with these. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think would be a good DIY with these. But I'm just using my raffia again, and I'm going to go through each one of the holes, and then I'm going to group that raffia up at the top. Now you could also use fabric, you could use twine, you could use that nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. There is a lot of options that you could do here. I kind of feel like the twine is a little maybe not as secure as one of those other options would be, but I really like the rustic look of it. But here it is styled on my front door. For this project, we're going to make a pumpkin spice sign, and we're going to start out with just a piece of wood I had that I picked up at the DI up in Utah. I'm just going to cover it with some white Waverly chalk paint, and then I picked up this window cling set at the Dollar Tree. I got these last year, but they have several sets of window clings out this year that you can go and check out. I'm just going to cut out the words that were on this one. So it says, "Home is where you smell pumpkin spice." I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on with some Mod Podge, and I just put it off to the left of the sign. So then I'm going to take this pumpkin. It's a wooden pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to remove all of the pieces, and then I'm going to start staining it. So this video, I'm going to do a lot of staining with paint and water, and this is just brown acrylic paint that I add water to, and then it works really nicely as a stain. So I'm just going to go ahead and start painting that on, and I'm going to paint it on into the middle part of this, and then on the outer part. This sign has some of the raised wooden pieces. If you can't find this sign, they have plenty of choices at the Dollar Tree for wooden pumpkins, and any of those wooden pumpkins would work great here. I'm just using some orange acrylic paint now that I added water to, and I'm going to go ahead and paint it on. This gives it a really fun watercolor look, and it just looks a lot more fun than regular paint. You don't necessarily have to do any dry brushing over it unless you choose to do that. So once I get these particular middle pieces painted, I go ahead and let the whole thing dry, and then we're ready to add a bow. So we're going to add a shabby bow up at the top, and this is just some leftover fabric and some leftover jeans that I've had in my stash. I went ahead and made a little shabby bow, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun and attach that up at the top. So I love to use all kinds of leftover materials to make these bows. I've used sheets that I've gotten at garage sales and things like sheets that we didn't want anymore. I've used fabric and jeans, so just about anything you can make that you can rip apart and get a shabby look works really well. I've really been enjoying the jeans and have been incorporating them a lot in my DIYs. If you want to see the first video that I made with jeans, I will link that down in my description box. So now we are ready to attach our pumpkin to the sign, and we're just going to use some hot glue and attach it to the right side of the pumpkin. This was super easy, and here it is styled in some decor.
You can't turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants to go.
For this project, we're going to make a pumpkin pie sign, and I just thought this turned out so adorable, so I took one of those pieces of wood that they sell in the Crafter Square area. I'm just using my brown acrylic paint and water again, and we're going to paint it all over the front of the sign and the back of the sign. This gives it such a fun stained look for an inexpensive price. Then I'm going to take the pumpkin pie pieces from that same window cling set, and they are strung together as a garland. I think that's so adorable. We're just going to use some Mod Podge and apply the Mod Podge to the back of this window cling and stick it on to this piece of wood. So once we get that glued onto the piece of wood, I took another shabby bow, and this just had some, again, leftover fabric and jeans. I tied them together to make a bow, and then I'm just going to hot glue that to the left-hand side, and here it is styled in some decor.
myself beneath the stone. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice.
For this one, we're going to make a sweeter than pumpkin pie sign, and this is like the easiest DIY I have probably ever done. I'm going to take this round circle. I've used the cup out of this set in a previous DIY, and this wood round came from Hobby Lobby. I'm not going to paint it or anything. I really liked it the way this looked with just the wooden piece. So all I'm going to do is add some Mod Podge to the back of our window cling, attach it to our wooden piece, and this DIY is complete. Like I said, it's so easy, it's almost hard to call it a DIY.
Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line. You pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright.
For this project, we're going to make a stacked pumpkin sign, and we're first going to take a piece of the wood from the crafter square area. This is one of the smaller pieces. It's thinner, it's not quite as wide, but we're going to use the same technique, and we're going to use the brown acrylic paint and give it a good stain. Then we're going to take a package of the pumpkin ornaments that they have, and we're going to use the orange acrylic paint and water and stain those pumpkins, and then we're going to use some white Waverly chalk paint, and we're going to paint each of the pumpkins with some white Waverly chalk paint. Then we're going to use our hot glue, and we're going to stack each one of these pumpkins on top of each other to make kind of like a topiary. So my friend Nadia over at DIY with Nadia, she does amazing wreaths over there, and one of the things that she likes to use is a stir stick, and she creates these really beautiful wreaths out of these stir sticks. So that is what this project was inspired by, one of her stir stick centerpiece ideas. I'm not going to be attaching this to a wreath, but you definitely could use it as a center of a wreath or a door hanger if you chose to do that. So once we get all of the pieces glued on, then we're ready to take our window clings, and we're going to add our window clings to each one of the pumpkins. So this window cling set was also one that I picked up last year. It has some more like pastel-y tones to it, so that's why I kind of liked the watercolor look and the white dry brush over these pumpkins. But I just added several of the smaller window clings to each one of the pumpkins, and I tried to kind of separate the ones that had wording in between ones that were just more of like leaves or something like that, so that it kind of broke up the wording. And then once I got the desired window clings in the places that I wanted them to be, I went ahead and took my Mod Podge and attached them to each of the pumpkin pieces. Then I decided to make a bow here at the top, and I'm using some leftover fabric that came from the Dollar Tree. That is probably my most favorite thing to buy at the Dollar Tree. If you've watched me at all, you know I use fabric just about in every video, and so that is such a steal of a deal to get those fabric pieces at the Dollar Tree. So all I'm doing is I folded these two pieces over to kind of make the tails of a bow, and then I'm going to take another piece and I'm going to use jeans in the middle of this one. I tied it into a shoelace bow, and then I'm just going to hot glue that into the middle of these tassels. So I love to use different textures like jeans and fabric because it just gives it such a fun look, and you get all these different colors and textures that just bring out a really fun detail in the project. So we're just going to hot glue that here to the middle, and here it is, styled in some decor.
And how the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath. Let me be a part of something real. Someone says better.
For this project, we're going to create an apple decor sign, and this is one of the calendar pages from the 2021 calendar. I wasn't lucky enough to get the calendars this year, even though I went to like $20 trees when I was in Albuquerque. I still wasn't even able to find one calendar. Let me know down in the description box if you are feeling my pain. So I went ahead and put some Mod Podge on this wooden sign, and the wooden sign came from Hobby Lobby. I then sprayed some water on top of it in my little spray bottle. These are really handy. I picked them up at the Dollar Tree. And then once it was dry, I took some sandpaper, also from the Dollar Tree, and I just sanded off the edges. I like to use the sanding block, but mine needed to be replaced. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a shabby bow, and this is just some fabric from the Dollar Tree, some ribbon I had on hand, and then the gray and off-white ribbon is from burlapfabric.com. It's a linen ribbon, so it's actually like a higher weighted ribbon. It's not wired, it's just heavier, and it's really good to work with. I enjoyed working with it in this video. If you want to check it out, I'll have a link down in my description box for burlap fabric. So I made 2 of these, and then I'm just using some hot glue around the stem area, and I'm going to glue the shabby bow right there in where the stem is, and then here it is styled in some decor. So for this project, we're going to make a wooden apple picture frame, and I found this little picture frame over in the fall decor at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to go ahead and take out the middle part and remove the little paper part that was in there. Once I have that all removed, I'm ready to give it a good coat of paint. So I'm using a stain here. I just added some water to some green paint, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire apple part with that color. I really love how this turned out, and I just love the look of green apples. So I don't know, I really loved how the mixture of the water and the paint looked. So to give it a little bit of a yellow feel, I decided to dry brush it with a light yellow acrylic paint, and I'm just going to go over the entire apple with that yellow color. This ends up turning out really beautiful as far as textures and the color goes. So I'm using some more of my burlapfabric.com ribbon, and I cut this one in half and made some smaller pieces here, and I'm just going to tie it around the stem. I added a picture of us at the Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, which is in October, which was also fall related, so I thought it was appropriate, and here it is styled in some decor. You gotta let me know if I'm out of line. But there's some words that I just wanna use. For this project, we're going to make an apple shadow box, and I'm just using this little box that I got at Michael's, and I'm giving it a good stain. This is just my brown acrylic paint mixed with water, and then I let it dry. If you can see my paper down below, you definitely want to have paper down when you're using this like watercolor technique, because it can get pretty messy. So then for the apple, I colored the leaf with that same green and watered down paint, and then the stem with some more brown stain. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same technique with my red paint, and I'm going to cover the entire apple with that color. Once I let it dry, then we're just going to go ahead and apply some hot glue here with another little bow. This one is just a piece of leftover jeans that I've cut into a little tiny strip. I'm going to make an awareness bow, so I just fold it over, and then I add a little bit more hot glue here. We're ready to add a little embellishment in the middle, and as you guys know, I absolutely love my buttons, so a button is going to go here in the middle. My buttons come from Buttons Galore, and I will leave a link down to their website or either Amazon if I can find them on Amazon. So I had some of these wood rounds. I just went ahead and glued one to the bottom of the box, glued my apple on top, and here it is styled in some decor. Yes, I'm on my way. this project, we're going to make a recipe holder, and I had actually used this frame as a recipe holder before with a different recipe. I will link that video down in my description box if you want to check out the recipe DIYs I did a couple summers ago. But I'm just going to take this fabric. It was from the Dollar Tree, and this is just a piece of cardstock that was in the frame. I'm just going to cover it with my fabric using some hot glue. I'm just going to glue it onto my piece of paper. I didn't have the insert to this frame, but if you had the insert to a frame, you could definitely cover the insert instead. So once I get all the sides hot glued, I just kind of make it pretty taut so that it is not like showing any of the paper on the other side. And then once I get that all glued, I had one side that didn't have enough to fold over. So all I did was take some hot glue and glue that right down to the piece of fabric, as you can see here. I love the Dollar Tree fabric. I say that in almost every video, but I love my shabby bows. You guys love my shabby bows, and so definitely be looking at Dollar Tree for when their fabric comes out, because you want to get all the really fun patterns. So once I had that glued in there, I took another one of these little apples and I painted it that same way that I did the last one. It's red with the green and brown, and I'm just going to attach that there at the corner. I'm also going to make another little shabby bow with my burlap fabric ribbon, and then my green ribbon was just some that I had in my stash. I believe it is scrapbooking ribbon actually, but you can find all of those skinny ribbons at Hobby Lobby, and they are often 50% off, so they are a great deal. You spend about $2.50 maybe, and you get a really huge roll. So then I'm going to take one of these tiny clothespins, and I'm just going to glue that right to the fabric at the top of our frame. This is a recipe that is my mom's apple pie, so I just went ahead and I hand wrote it because I think that adds a little bit more of a personal touch. I made one more shabby bow with all my really fun fabrics and ribbon, and then here it is, styled in some decor.
Now's the time to reap what I've sown. Your words echoing in every single bone. Underwater, so far out at sea.
For this project, we're going to make a wooden apple, and I feel like one of my videos wouldn't be complete if I didn't make some kind of wood, kind of rustic looking apple here, because this seems to be something I love to make. But all I'm using is my red acrylic paint with water again. I stained the entire block, and these came from Hobby Lobby. If you're lucky enough to find the ones at Dollar Tree, you can use those too. These come in a pack of, I think, 2, and they are in the unfinished wood area. So then I used my stick, and I get these in a big old pack during Christmas time at Hobby Lobby, and it is 40% off now, so if you can find the pack of sticks, they last a long time. I use them all through the fall season and the Christmas season, so they are a great deal. I made one more tiny jean bow that I tied at the stem, and here it is, styled in some decor.
Yes, I'm on my way.
Now I made a similar topiary from a Family Dollar piece, and I will list that video down at the end screen and down in my description box, but this one is a little bit different because the pieces of the pumpkin are raised, and so you have like this groovy part that we're going to cover with our metallic paint, and then the parts that stick up are raised we're going to cover with terracotta. So once we get those painted, I also picked up these Happy Falls. These ended up being $1, and you get a package of 4 of them. 2 of them are unfinished and 2 of them are orange. So then we're going to cover our unfinished one with our green teal paint again, and then I'm going to take some raffia, which I also picked up at Hobby Lobby, and it comes in a package of 3. And then we're going to glue that up at the top of our pumpkin topiary. Now, we're going to take our letters that spelled out Happy Fall, and we're going to glue those down here at the bottom of the pumpkin topiary. If you are not the kind of person who loves to add fabric like every project that I ever do, because I absolutely love fabric bows, then that's okay, because this project can be completed at this step and it's still absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to add a little bit extra, so I made a little shoelace bow that kind of matches our Happy Fall. I glued that in between our raffia. Here it is, styled in some decor. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this one. Now, I don't tend to do a lot of truck DIYs on my channel, but this one really just said paint me. So I picked it up. I love that it's lighted. The reason why I don't really pick these up is because I don't like that there's two dimensions in there, and you really have to cover the inside of the truck as much as you do the outside. So when I painted the tires, the truck, and the pumpkins on the inside, I covered that wood piece as well so that there wasn't any unfinished wood covered there. But we're using our same colors. We used the green for our truck, black for the tires, and our terracotta for the pumpkins. Then I'm going to take some white Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to dry brush over the entire truck, including the tires. Now, dry brushing is super fun because each of us can have a different eye. Maybe you like heavy, maybe I like light, and either way, it's all about what you like because it's your DIY. So once my dry brushing is done, I took this dowel stick that I picked up at Walmart. I cut it to fit the size of the bed of our truck because I wanted to give it some dimension here to separate between the pumpkins and the truck. I painted it the gold metallic cover and I'm just hot gluing it here to the bed. Then I decided that this DIY needed a little bit more of something, so of course it wouldn't be complete without some little fabric shabby bows. So I just tied shoelace bows and I'm going to glue them at the stem of our pumpkins. I absolutely love how this turned out. If you don't want to use fabric, you can also use ribbon, raffia, or any of those kind of things, and it would look just as adorable. I took some buttons and I'm going to glue those buttons into the middle of our bow. My buttons come from Buttons Galore. I'll leave a link to their website down in my description box, but honestly, any buttons would do. Then I decided to take some raffia. I stuffed the inside of the truck with my raffia and I absolutely love how this turned out. I'm going to style it for you guys, I guess, with the light on because why not? And here it is styled in some decor. Let me know what you think about this one. So these two pieces are basically shelf sitters, or they would look absolutely adorable in a tiered tray. All I'm going to do today is paint them and obviously give them a little bit of a shabby bow, but I wanted to show you here the main part of this is that these only cost 99 cents because they are half off, which does actually become cheaper than the Dollar Tree. So definitely keep your eyes out because not always is the Dollar Tree the cheapest option. So I just used our same paint colors. If you know me and have watched me for a while, you know I always end up with a theme. I pick colors and I keep crafting with those colors because why not? They look beautiful together. So I'm just going to add a little shoelace bow there at the top to bring in that green color. My leaf is going to be covered with the gold metallic paint, and then I'm going to go ahead and dry brush it because this is a farmhouse DIY. Once I get it dry brushed, I'm going to go ahead and take another piece of the fabric and I'm going to glue that down at the bottom of my leaf. You could use any fabric here. You could also use ribbon. You could just put a little button or a little embellishment there. It doesn't have to always be the fabric like I like. It's definitely up to you. It's your DIY. For this project, we're going to make a corn husk pumpkin, and we're going to take our Dollar Tree foam pumpkin, remove the stem, and then we're going to cover it with some cashew Waverly chalk paint. I took about 2 coats to cover the whole pumpkin. Then I took these corn husks that I got from Hobby Lobby. They come in a really large package. I think I spent $6 on them because they are half off right now. And at first I started to glue them from just the top, like I was going around in a circle, but then I decided there's no reason why you can't glue them from the top to the bottom. So I went ahead and started gluing both sides of them down. You're going to want to find the biggest ones out of the package. You can use the smaller ones to kind of fill in any extra spaces if you want to, but you're going to cover the entire pumpkin, and I just used hot glue on both ends of the pumpkin. Then I had got this birchwood garland, I think last year at Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. I glued 2 pieces of that together to make my stem, and then I have some raffia. I glued that at the bottom of the stem, and then I got these cute little corns at Hobby Lobby. They come in a package of I think 12. for like $6. They're so cute. Anyway, I think this turned out adorable. I absolutely love it, and I think it's pretty unique looking. For this project, we're going to make a fabric accent pumpkin, and this is not one of the orange foam pumpkins, but this one I found in the um, Dollar Tree Plus section, and we're going to take some of my favorite Pioneer Woman fabric that I pick up at Walmart. You get the little bundles that you saw there in the whole package. I decided to use this one. I'm going to cut it up in the strips. I measured it from the top to the bottom, and then we're just going to use some hot glue, and we're going to glue those into the little, I guess you would call them, spines of the pumpkin. This is a really easy project because you can just watch TV as you're gluing along. It is not hard. You're just going to measure out your your fabric strips. Mine are about an inch, and then just glue it down. So once I have all the pieces glued down, I then decided that it needed a bow, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of my fabric, and then I used some of my burlap fabric ribbon. It is a linen ribbon. It's so pretty, and I love the quality. It's like pretty thick ribbon. I'll go ahead and leave a link to their website if you want to check out any of their other linen ribbons, but here it is, styled in some decor. Do you guys know what time it is? It's time to hit the like button. Don't forget so YouTube knows to send my video to more people so they can be inspired just like you. Let's get back to the DIYs. So for this project, we're going to do a fabric wrap pumpkin, and I went ahead and took 2 of the bundles of fabric from the Dollar Tree. I've also wrapped a smaller of the foam pumpkins in jeans, and if you want to see that video, I'll link that down in the description box. But I'm going to go ahead and take my 2 fabric bundles. I cut them into strips. Again, they're about a 1-inch strip if you're trying to measure. I don't measure, I just kind of look, put my scissors and tear, but if you're wanting to measure, they're about an inch. And then I'm going to alternate between the solid blue color and the plaid blue. So the plaid blue also has the same kind of color of blue from our solid fabric, so it works really well together. And you're just going to randomly go around and glue them. I went kind of like I was sectioning a circle into fractions. You know, this would be fourths, and then I turned it, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that again. But whatever way that you choose to glue on your fabric would be fine. You just want to have strips, and you want them to be kind of intertwined together. So here it is after I've gotten it all covered with the fabric. I took another 2 pieces of my garland thing, and I glued those together to make my stem. If you can find the little stem pieces from Dollar Tree, those are my absolute favorite pumpkin stems. My store didn't have them, or I missed getting them this year, which was a bummer. But if you can find those work really well for pumpkin stems. Then to make my shabby bow, I always take just several pieces of fabric, and then I use one of the pieces of the fabric to tie it together, because then it becomes part of the bow and you can't even tell, which is my favorite part. And then we're going to go ahead and tie on just another loose piece onto the bottom of our stem to cover up any of the stem pieces that might be showing, and then glue on the front of our bow to that other piece that we had already tied on, trim off any excess, and here it is, styled in some decor. So for this project, we're going to make a blooming pumpkin, and you can make blooming pumpkins out of real flowers. I chose not to do that here. I wanted to use my solo wood flowers for this one. So I'm just taking various sizes and shapes, and I'm going to go ahead and glue them all around the top of this pumpkin. I love solo wood flowers. There's so many things that you can do with them. This really becomes a really cute shabby chic pumpkin. But you can use, they have actual plain colors as well. Dollar Tree sells some smaller of the solo wood flowers that you can actually dye, or you could use the actual wood flowers that Dollar Tree has. I think those are really pretty as well. But we're going to just go ahead and finish up gluing our solo wood flowers around the top, and then we're going to go ahead and add a little extra to our blooming pumpkin. You could stop here if you wanted to. You don't need to add the extra that I decided to add on to it, but I think it looks really cute. So I took a couple of pieces of my excess fabric that I've been using this season. If you've been watching me, you've seen that fabric in a couple DIYs, but I cut little strips and I'm just going to go around underneath my solo wood flowers. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to take my scissors and kind of push my ribbon into that glue so it looks like it's underneath there, and I'm going to add about 4 of those around the pumpkin. Then once I have those glued onto the pumpkin, I am going to go back and take some pearls that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add those pearls to the ribbons underneath the flowers. I think this turned out so cute. I had my son vote on the project that he liked the most, and this was actually his favorite pumpkin of the video. Let me know if this is your pumpkin or if one of the other pumpkins won out for you. My favorite pumpkin of this video happens to be the corn husk one, but you guys let me know down below which one of these turned out to be your favorite. So for this project, we're going to make a coffee filter pumpkin, and I have to tell you guys, this is the ugliest yet cutest pumpkin I think I've ever made. I went ahead and took these coffee filters, I tore them in half. They don't have to be perfect, you can cut them if you want to, and then I just wadded them up in a bow. You could also do this with toilet paper, I decided as I was like halfway through this pumpkin, but you're just going to do several of them, and then we're going to start hot gluing them around the pumpkin. Now, a note here, you could add the stem prior to adding your coffee filters if you wanted, and then put the coffee filters around the stem. That would be an option too. I didn't do that, and it still turned out absolutely adorable, so it's up to you. But here we are, just going to glue these all around. As I was gluing these, I just kept thinking to myself, wow, this is pretty ugly. Then, when I got to this part, it reminded me of George Washington. You guys let me know if you see a sheep, George Washington. What do you see in the face of that pumpkin slash animal? Anyway, you're going to cover the entire pumpkin with your coffee filters. Then we're going to make another shabby bow using my golden white fabric and some jeans. And I think I snuck some of my burlap fabric ribbon in there too. We're going to go ahead, glue our stem down onto our coffee filters. Then we're going to go ahead and attach our bow. And I decided this needed a little something. You could stop here if you wanted to, or if you don't have the solo wood flowers. This particular flower came from the Dollar Tree, so I am going to just go ahead and glue that right in the middle of the bow, and here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to create a mop head pumpkin, and we're going to start out with 3 mop heads from the Dollar Tree. We're going to treat the mop pieces like macrame, and we're going to tie some macrame knots all around the pumpkin. So I'm just showing you here, you're just doing the simple loop over, you put it under, then you put the other pieces through the loop, and then you pull as tight as you possibly can. Once you have it around the frame, and I went in sections here, you can do it however you want. I think it's easier to cut it when you're doing the sections, especially when you get to the inside of the pumpkin. But we're just going to cut close to the knotted part, but not all the way to the knotted part because you don't want it to come apart. So once I get all of the pieces cut off here of my pumpkin, you then can take those pieces and reuse them. So that's where you can get away with using about 2.5 mops is what I actually ended up using. because you're going to take the smaller piece and then do the same thing, and it's going to be a little bit shorter, but you still can tie it just like we were tying the longer ones, and then you'll just trim off any excess there, and you're going to throw that part away. So we're going to go all the way around the outside of the frame. We're then going to do the stem of the frame, and I did it exactly the same way, folding over those macrame knots. I went up the stem, around the stem, and down the stem, and then I'm going to go ahead and cover all of the middle pieces. Definitely you're just going to get a TV show on or a book going, and you're going to tie and cut as you go along. So here it is, styled without anything on it. I think this is so adorable. I then added a bow, but I didn't really like this bow. I was trying to add a little bit of color there, but I think I finally ended up liking the one with the sunflower the most. You guys let me know down below which of these 4 styles you liked the best. For this project, I called it a minimalistic pumpkin. I wasn't really sure what to title it. There's not much to this one. I picked up these gorgeous picks at Hobby Lobby. They have so many pretty ones out for fall, a whole row at my store. And I just took 2 of them, and I'm going to put them side by side, and I'm using some wire to attach them together. The really nice thing about using the wire here is that you can take this apart and reuse this wreath form at a later date if you wanted to, or if you just wanted to take it apart to store it, this is really easy to store. So I just tied them both to the sides of my stem. I picked up this beautiful sunflower. I loved them. They had all kinds of colors. The green one was really my favorite, but I loved how the yellow one went with these picks. And that is it. Here it is, styled up on my wall. This project is a striped fabric pumpkin, and you guys knew you couldn't get away without a fabric DIY. But I love this fabric. I have gold and I have green. I really loved how the green one turned out. Once I get the fabric all wrapped, and you're just going to use hot glue all around the outside of the frame. You want to pull it fairly tight so that you have a good, like, you can see the wreath form but not too tight. I love how this turned out. This fabric is really stretchy, so it's not a really heavy duty fabric, and it makes it look like an heirloom pumpkin. You guys let me know down below in the comments if you think this looks like an heirloom pumpkin. I totally thought so. Then I took little strips of fabric and I just tied them like I normally do to make my shabby bows all around the stem, and then I grabbed some jeans that I had left over, made a quick bow, and here it is, styled up on my wall. For this project, we're going to do a pumpkin field pumpkin, and if you've been watching me for a while, or you saw my decorating video, you know that I love blue to go in my fall decor. I'm really loving the gold and copper tones as well. So I took 2 of these pumpkin forms, and I'm just using my same wire to wire them together 2 places down in the bottom, and then I did go ahead and add 2 at the top by the stem. Now this Hobby Lobby pumpkin has a huge middle section, so basically my hands just fit through it, but I went ahead and styled this. I was able to move it around without the pumpkins falling out. Just be careful, or style it at the place that you want to have it as a centerpiece. But I just grabbed one of these pre-made bows that they had at Hobby Lobby. I loved how the colors kind of went together, and here it is, styled in some decor. For this project, we're going to do a leaf-filled pumpkin, and this is similar to the previous DIY, but I took 2 of those wreath forms. I'm using my same wire, and this time I picked up a leaf garland. Now, I love this leaf garland. It's in several places in my home. I just love the colors of it, but all I did was bunch it together and place it inside one of the wreath forms. Then I'm going to take the other wreath form, I'm going to stack it on top, and using my same wire, we're going to adhere those 2 wreath forms together. Now, the beauty of this is you can take this centerpiece apart when you go to store it, and you can put it back together next year pretty quickly just using some wire. So I did go ahead and put some wire up at the top to hold the top two pieces together, and then I decided to add just a little bit extra here. I picked up another one of those sunflowers. I love these sunflowers, you guys. I didn't even get the green one, and the green one was my favorite. I probably need to go back and do a DIY with that green one. Anyway, I'm just going to attach it here at the top by the stem. I decided to add a wood piece to this one, and I actually did this project before I did the pumpkin one, but I don't really think this wood piece is necessary. But here it is, styled in some decor. I love it because the wire form just sort of pops out here and there, but it's a beautiful centerpiece. For this project, we're going to make a corn husk gnome, and I know I'm using an untraditional thing here to create the gnome, but you guys are going to be so surprised how this turns out. It's so adorable. So don't be afraid to use like stuff that you have around, that if you don't have like an actual gnome form or something that you think should be a gnome form. I mean, this is just one of those wooden houses that I got from the Target dollar spot. I think it was in the springtime. So I got these corn husks at Hobby Lobby, and I just layered them on top of each other onto the house about 3/4 of the way, and then I'm going to cut off the bottom. I wanted this gnome to be a shelf sitter, so that's why I chose the house. Then I took one of these wooden flowers from the Dollar Tree. I took out the inside of it so that it's a little bit smaller, and I'm just using some hot glue on one edge, and I'm going to press it down a little bit onto my corn husks. That is going to be the nose of my gnome. Then this material came from the Dollar Tree. I love their fabric. You guys know that already though. And all I'm going to do is wrap it around the top of my house and then kind of gather it where I want the hat to be. And then I just cut it off. I'm going to take some hot glue. I'm going to wrap it around and glue it in the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie it off in the front. If you guys missed my leather leaf gnome video, that was so adorable. I loved how it turned out, and it was pretty popular on my Instagram page and my Pinterest page. So I will link that video down in my description box so you can check it out next, and I'll put it at the end screen. But all I did was glue this to the back, and I'm taking some twine. I'm going to tie that off at the top, and then I decided to go ahead and add a leaf. So since this is like a Thanksgiving theme, I thought the corn husks would make the cutest beard, and they totally did. So I just added some of these leaves that I got from Hobby Lobby to the top of his hat. I loved the Hobby Lobby leaf selection this year. There were so many different colors. If you missed my decorating video, I will also link that down in my description box. But here it is, styled for you guys. Let me know what you think about this adorable gnome. So for this project, I decided to create a cheese grater luminaria. It must be the video for kind of different items that you can create, I guess. But if you're not familiar with what a luminaria is, it is usually a brown paper bag that has a candle and some sand in it, and it's usually lit at Christmas time. I live in the Southwest. It's very popular here. We have a huge celebration during the month of December at our local college, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I decided to create a fall one. I'm using my same corn husks. I just glued a few of them at the top. I took a couple more of my leaves, and then I found these little mini Indian corns also at Hobby Lobby. I glued a couple of those, and then these cute little straw bows. I glued one at the top. Here it is, styled for you. I included some of those Dollar Tree flameless candles in the bottom, and I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. Let me know what you think about this one. Project, we're going to create a tiered trade mini tobacco basket with some Indian corn. I don't know what it is about those baskets, but one video I did quite a while ago, I called it a Tabasco basket, and I got so many comments about that. But anyway, so we're going to use these little mini corns again, and I'm just going to glue 3 of them together here up at the top. I'm going to use another one of those little mini bows that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to glue that there, and here it is styled for you guys. This is just a cute thing to throw into your tiered tray. Let me know what you think about this one. For this project, we're going to make an Indian corn centerpiece, and you can actually make this into a wreath. I started as making it a wreath and then changed my mind and made it into a centerpiece, but you're going to take one of these straw wreaths that you can get at Hobby Lobby. These are the smaller ones. They are $2.99, and then I am taking this burlap ribbon that was like Christmas ribbon. I've had it forever. I've never used it, so I just decided to use it here because I didn't have any plain burlap. This is an optional step. If you're making this a wreath, you technically don't need that step, but if you're going to make it a centerpiece, I think you would want to have it there. So then I took these Indian corns. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. They are in the pumpkin area. They're a larger size, and we're going to glue them all around the wreath. So we want the points to touch. There is going to be a gap between them, but we're going to fill that gap in with some corn husks. So I'm going to go into each of the sections that have a gap, and I'm going to put about 3 or 4 pieces of the corn husks in there. This is a personal preference, however much you feel needs to go in there is how much you're going to put in there. As you can tell, the middle of my centerpiece wreath is a little lopsided as a circle goes. When I go to put my vase into the middle there, it does push out my corn a little bit, and so I do have to do some readjusting. So just a tip I would add here is that when you go to make the wreath, like glue the corns on, even if you're going to do a centerpiece or a wreath, I would put something cylinder in the middle there just to give you a uniform circle shape to start with, and then you won't have to do any more adjusting. Once I get my corn husk glued in, I decided to take a few of the leaves that I had left over. I'm still using like the same pack I've been using for the last couple videos, so you do get quite a few leaves in those packs at Hobby Lobby, and they are really pretty colors. So I'm going to go ahead and add them every like third section here, and then once I get these leaves in, I decide to go ahead and do another of leaves underneath there that is a different color. Now this is a personal preference. You could do every single one of those sections. You could do every other section. It really is up to you. I think that this looks absolutely beautiful right now as a wreath. Like, you would not need to do anything extra to it, and it's absolutely stunning. But I decided that I wanted to do just a little bit of extra, so I'm going to turn it into a centerpiece. Now I have this glass candle holder that I've had since I got married, and I don't use it very often. I definitely don't use it as a candle. It's like one of those really small cylinder tall candles would go in here. I forget what they're called, but anyway, that's what would fit in there. But I'm going to use it as just a vase, so I'm going to add some of these velvet pumpkins, some more of the baby Indian corns in there as a mixture, and here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think of this one. So for this project, we're going to make an acorn sign, and I picked up this sign at the Dollar Tree. It was in the Dollar Tree Plus section, and it was already whitewashed. I really loved the simplicity of it, so I'm not going to do much to this sign. I decided to go ahead and add some shabby bows to the top of each one of the acorns. I really wanted to use those little raffia bows with the buttons, but they really didn't go here for the look that I was looking for. I wanted this to look more like a high-end Thanksgiving decor item, and so I just left them out. So this pick was left over from a previous project. It also came from Hobby Lobby in their pick department for fall. They are half off right now, and they do have some really beautiful ones, so I highly recommend checking that section of the store out. But I just took each of the little pieces apart, and I'm just going to attach them up here at the top of the acorns. I think this turned out absolutely stunning. It's really simplistic. If you feel like it's too minimal for you, you could always add like some woodwords on to the acorns or just maybe in the middle. But here it is styled for you guys. Let me know what you think of this one.